Hello, dear friends. What would happen if I told you that, at a certain age, your frequent visits to your children and grandchildren, even though they come from love, might actually make those relationships more distant? It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? But the truth is, when old age arrives, everything changes not only physically, but also in how we connect with our loved ones. And that too deserves to be reconsidered. Perhaps, somewhere out there, many elderly people still believe that being present often is a way to preserve family affection. But then they will realize, too much presence, even with good intentions, can sometimes create silent pressure on the younger generation. This is the moment when we begin to ask ourselves, how can we avoid being isolated, yet not become a burden? How do we protect our relationships while still maintaining our dignity, independence, and mental health? And that's exactly what we'll explore in today's video, through a simple yet deeply experienced piece of advice. When you're older, learn to visit your children and grandchildren in moderation. Enough to be missed, not to be worn out. Before we continue, I'd love to know, where are you watching this video from in the world? Please leave the name of your place in the comments below. It's a pleasure to be with you on this journey of caring for the health and spirit of old age. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please support me by hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you won't miss any helpful content in the coming time. So, what really happens when older adults try to maintain too many visits too often? Let's begin with the first reason. Coming from your own body. Reason 1. Your body can no longer handle frequent outings. You don't have to wait until you're 80 or 90. Just after 60, you'll clearly notice one thing. Your body no longer recovers as quickly as it used to. Going out, driving, taking the bus, climbing stairs, sitting for long periods on unfamiliar chairs, things that once felt simple now leave you drained after each visit to your children and grandchildren. Some people, just after returning home, already have to lie down and rest for the entire next day. Not because the trip was too long, but because their strength has worn down, and their body needs more time to recover. We often forget that every outing is another adjustment for the body. From weather, environment, sitting posture, even down to using someone else's bathroom. All of these affect older adults, especially those with underlying conditions like joint problems, high blood pressure, or heart disease. And then, instead of feeling happy, you end up feeling exhausted. What started as a joyful visit turns into a mild kind of self-inflicted punishment, something no one wants. That's why sometimes staying in one place, in your own familiar home, isn't laziness. It's knowing how to listen to your body. But physical health is only one part. There's something quieter, yet with longer-lasting impact, and that's your immune resistance. Reason 2. Age-related immune decline. Every outing is a challenge for your body. Have you noticed, just going out for a few days and your nose gets stuffy, your throat starts to itch, or your body feels drained as if you're coming down with something? That's a sign your immune system isn't what it used to be. The older you get, the harder it becomes for your body to fight off bacteria and viruses, even the mild ones. Young people catch a cold and recover in a day or two. But older adults can easily develop pneumonia, exhaustion, or even end up hospitalized just from a light fever. Every time you go to a crowded place, whether it's your children's house, a bus, the supermarket, or a friend's gathering, it's another time your body has to confront airborne germs. The dangerous part is, many people around you may seem healthy, but they could be carrying pathogens without even knowing it. That doesn't mean you have to avoid everyone. What it means is, be selective about where you go, when you go, and how often you meet. A visit on a sunny day, in a well-ventilated space, with healthy loved ones, is far better than going just for the sake of going. only to come home with a cold that lasts all week. But it's not just your body that gets tired. Your mind does too. Have you ever felt that after each conversation, your head feels like it's out of battery, and you don't want to think about anything else? If you have, the next part will explain why. Reason 3. When your mind can no longer keep up with long conversations. There are times when you're still healthy, still alert, but just after a gathering with many people, you come home with your mind blank and a restless, uncomfortable feeling inside. It's not exactly physical fatigue, it's exhaustion from within. When we were younger, we could easily talk for hours, respond quickly, and follow conversations with 10 people at once. But as we age, everything slows down. From how we absorb information to how we process emotions. Noise, rapid exchanges, and topics that are hard to follow all contribute to mental overload. No one is saying you're no longer intelligent, but just like an old radio, when the volume is turned up too high, all you hear is static. The aging mind is the same. It needs space, a slower rhythm, and a pause after each social interaction. The truth is, many older adults feel stressed, anxious, or lose sleep, simply from trying too hard to be sociable in large gatherings. But that effort is not really necessary. There's no rule that says you must always be cheerful, always talkative, or always present. Staying alone in silence with a cup of tea and a few pages of a book is sometimes the most profound way to restore your spirit. And it is within that silence that we come to realize something very important. The older we get, the more we need to protect our private space as an essential part of living true to ourselves. Reason 4. Personal space, a basic need, not a luxury. When you were younger, having guests over was always a joy, but as you grow older, that feeling starts to change. You begin to feel uncomfortable with noise, disrupted schedules, altered mealtimes, or even just having to entertain when all you want is peace and quiet. It's not because you've become difficult. It's because you're trying to preserve your own rhythm. Something that becomes very important with age. Older adults often no longer have much control over life outside. But the home, their own living space, is the last thing they can truly take charge of. And when there are too many visits, unexpected trips, or invitations just for fun, the feeling of being intruded upon starts to creep in. Many older adults don't dare to say this out loud. They receive guests out of politeness, out of hesitation, or because they don't want to seem distant. But deep down, they feel like they're losing control, and sometimes become exhausted by the very care others are trying to give. Preserving personal space does not mean rejecting affection. On the contrary, it's a way to protect dignity, autonomy, and the feeling of being oneself. And if loved ones truly care, they will understand that sometimes the best way to show love is to respect the silence that you need. But it doesn't stop at just keeping space for yourself. That quietness also helps you avoid another kind of trouble, one that happens when visits start turning into obligations instead of joy. Reason 5. When visits become obligations, they are no longer joyful. Have you ever had this feeling? A gathering that should have been something to look forward to, but the closer the day comes, the more you dread it, not because you don't love your children, grandchildren, or friends, but because you know you'll have to brace yourself, prepare the house, clean up, dress properly, act cheerful, polite, and ready for conversation. Sometimes, just one sentence like, "We're coming over this weekend," is enough to keep you awake all night. When you were still strong, that might not have been a problem. But once your energy, focus, and mood are no longer as stable as before, then every visit that isn't carefully planned, even with the best intentions, can still cause pressure. We often think that the more we meet, the closer we'll be. But for older adults, what's truly valuable isn't the number of meetings. It's the sincerity, gentleness, and timing. A quiet conversation with one person can sometimes feel 10 times more meaningful than a party with a dozen people. You don't have to meet everyone, just the right person at the right time. Because the quality of a relationship isn't measured by how often you meet, but by how light and at ease you feel after each visit. And at this point, you've probably seen clearly, slowing down, being selective, and cutting back on social interactions doesn't make you disconnected. On the contrary, it helps you live more deeply, more truthfully, and more peacefully in your own old age. So then, what is the core thing we should hold on to? Dear friends, there is no universal formula for old age, but there is one thing almost everyone experiences. We are no longer suited for a fast-paced, noisy, and densely packed way of life as we once were. Limiting visits does not mean cutting off affection. It means knowing how to maintain balance, in health, in spirit, and in dignity. Instead of trying to be present all the time, choose the moments that truly matter. A well-timed phone call, a thoughtfully prepared meeting, or even a single look that shows understanding, all are far more valuable than visits done just because. Old age is not a time to push through. It's a time to live at your own pace, stepping back, slowing down, being more selective. That might be how you preserve both your health and your connections. And you absolutely have the right to live that way. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. And if you found this content valuable, please share it with someone you care about. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because there are many more videos waiting for you with sincere and helpful insights for the journey of living well and lightly after 60. Live in a way that makes you feel fulfilled. Even if you meet less often, let it always be with respect.